What's up? This is Toad. This is Better Off Dead for college football week 0, for lack of a better term for it. The first week of college football where you have a few games on the slate before the official week 1, which is next week. I'm going to try to do weekly football videos like I did last year, except hopefully these get more traction on the Tower Gang, under the Tower Gang name. And currently, I'm kind of reeling right now from baseball the last couple of days. We had that Minnesota Twins implosion a couple of days ago where I should have made that a first 5-inning bet potentially, even though I didn't think that there was really much reason to not stick with the bullpen scenario there with both teams on rest the day before that. But I really liked the Minnesota starting pitching situation, and through 5 innings, they were winning the game. So that would have won, and the bullpen just completely blew it. And then, of course, yesterday, the under in the Angels game, Ohtani goes down in the 2nd inning, and just that whole thing just unravels. And I think he's out for the season. Serious injury. I don't even know what the injury was. I was not watching it, but it just happens, man. There's nothing you can do about that. I don't think my handicap was really necessarily wrong, even though Abbott started out really shaky. It was starting to look like a lower scoring type of game, and then, Ohtani done, and even then, it took a little while for the runs to come in, and then it just totally imploded. So that sucks. Fuck that. I do not have any baseball plays today, so I'm not going to release any shorter baseball breakdowns today. I don't like the card. I don't know if that's going to change, but I looked and I was just like, yeah, fuck that. It's Thursday, a shorter card, and I just don't see any angles. But college football, the first weekend, I do see one angle, and I'm hoping I'm not giving up too much value here, and I will kind of talk about how I bet underdogs in situations like this. College football, I'm looking at Ohio at San Diego State on Saturday. And this line opened, I think, 3.5 San Diego State, and it's dropped below the 3, which is not great because obviously I would like to get 3 at least when I'm taking Ohio here as the underdog. You want to get that key number if you can, but I like this play quite a bit, and it has moved because there's been a lot of traction on Ohio. I think a lot of professional bettors are indeed betting Ohio, and it looks like the majority of the money is on Ohio, less so the tickets, but I think there's a reason for that because San Diego State is a well-known football powerhouse in ways. They've been a powerhouse in their conference, at least when they've been in the Mountain West, and everybody sees them as like a really great defensive team, a team that's always in the mix in college football, usually ranked. And people love that name. People look at Ohio and are like, this is some fucking MAC team, like shit conference. This team sucks, obviously. That is not the case currently, I don't think. San Diego State has had offensive issues for a little while now recently, and I don't think that's going to change right away. And one of the main reason for this handicap here is that Ohio is in a much better state as far as returning starters this year, and they have the way better offense. San Diego State not only has struggled offensively recently, and they are returning their quarterback, but his stats are just not good. I think last year he had a 12-10 touchdown interception ratio. Complete garbage. His completion percentage wasn't good. I just don't really see much going on with the San Diego State offense, and they lost 2 senior running backs and 2 senior wide receivers, so they're going to be in a rebuilding mode as well. And when you have a team like that, usually it takes a little while for them to get going on offense, and players have to kind of build that chemistry again. They got to learn the system, got to know what they're doing. They don't just start playing well right off the bat. So they have a lot of starters they need to replace, and on the defense, it might be even worse. They've actually had to replace their entire defensive line from what it was last year, and that's tough to do as well. So I think they're going to be in trouble. I think they're going to be losing battles in the trenches, and Ohio, on the other hand, actually has a pretty good offensive line, and I actually think that with San Diego State losing their running backs to graduation, I think that Ohio actually has the better rushing attack as well. And Ohio absolutely has the better passing offense, and it's not even close. which is another factor in this handicap. Their quarterback, I think Rourke is his name, he got injured towards the very end of last season, and I think it was a bad injury, like a torn ACL, I think. So he missed the bowl game, and they actually won their bowl game anyway without him, with their backup quarterback in there. Rourke is coming back from surgery, which I think also gives us more value in Ohio, because not only are they this MAC team that nobody pays attention to, but now you got this quarterback who, last anybody saw, he was injured. He didn't play in the bowls. Like, people are going to tend to not want to play on that guy. Even though I talked about the reverse injured player theory in my betting 101 video, I don't think this is a reverse injured player situation. I think this is a situation where you have start of the season, the team is getting themselves back together. I think they're going to be pumped for game one. It's against like a pretty big name opponent. They start on the road, which I don't think is a detriment to them because it is week one, so they're not having to go week to week here. They'll be able to prepare for it. I think they will be absolutely focused on this. I think because he's been injured for that long, he actually gets downgraded in the Rourke. I mean, he gets downgraded a little bit as far as the value goes, although I think the line is kind of adjusting to that. But I am taking Ohio plus 2.5 in this game. For all those reasons I just mentioned. I think they're just the much more ready team right out of the gate. I think they have 9 returning starters on offense. They only have to replace 2 starters on offense from their offense that was quite good last year, and I believe they made the MAC championship game last year and lost it, and they still wound up in a bowl game, of course. San Diego State, yeah, their offense has just been pretty much crippled, so I don't know, even though they have an okay defense and they're known for being a very good defensive team, I don't know how they're going to keep up with Ohio's offense in this game. And yeah, plus 2.5. Unfortunately, I missed the plus 3.5, plus 3. I still like Ohio as the underdog here, plus 2.5. And the way that I do this, when it's an underdog, at least one that's within like a certain range, not like a gigantic underdog at least, I like to put 10% of that bet on the money line. So I put 90% on the spread bet, so the majority of it is there, but I like to put that little sprinkle on the money line, just so when that underdog, if they win outright, and especially with a small underdog like this, you're saying there's a pretty decent chance you think they're going to win the game outright. You want to be able to collect on that. Like, I always don't feel great when I don't have money on the money line and that underdog wins outright. And if you're saying that there's value in them covering the spread, you're basically saying there is also going to be value in them to win outright on the money line as well. So it makes sense to put a little bit of that bet on the money line and cash a little bit more value-wise that way if you can. So that is what I'm doing. Ohio plus 2.5, and I actually got it at minus 108, a little bit of a reduced vig, but I'm fine with it at the regular price, minus 110, and sprinkle on the underdog price at plus 120, a little bit of money on that. So if you were betting $100, let's say, I would split the bet such that you'd be betting, you'd be putting the 100 on the Ohio plus 2.5 on the spread. So you're gonna win a little bit less than 100 on that if you do win, and then put $10 on the money line. That's how I would spread that out. And that is it for college football. I haven't really looked at many of the other games, but this one is the one that really caught my eye the most because of the huge discrepancy in the returning starters. And in week one, or the first week in college football, that's one of the angles you want to be looking at. Those teams that have a lot of returning starters, they already know each other. They're familiar with each other. They have that chemistry already, like playing together. And this is going to be, I think this is a situation where they're going to be pumped for Rourke to come back, and they're going to want to do something. And like I said, it's against a big name opponent, so I don't think it's a situation where they're going to be unfocused at all, and they're going on the road for it. I like Ohio quite a bit in this one, so that's the play. Ohio plus 2.5 on Saturday in college football, week 0. Hell yeah. Let's cash that one. This is Toad Better Off Dead. And if you don't get that reference, I don't know if I want to totally describe it here, but go watch the Tower Gang podcast where we get super offensive about everything. We will describe why that name is the case. It may or may not have to do with suicidal thoughts and things like that. So hopefully the losing bets don't push me over the edge. Let's do it. Ohio, +2.5. College football, week 0. Better off dead. I'm Toad.